want to thank Kate, and I want to thank God, of course, for this beautiful temple and the opportunity to be here. It's really great to see so many beautiful faces and to see your own faces, coming from where I come from in Beverly Hills and Hollywood. It's just so refreshing to see that everybody has their own style, and everybody has their own face. I feel like I'm talking to 40 different people, not one person with 40 different And that says a lot for who you are, and your generosity and your religiosity. That's the word. And I didn't even come with business cards or anything like that. I really came because Kate said, "Can you come give a lesson on health?" And I had just been recovering from a very bad ice skating accident, so I had like 3 weeks in the hospital, 3 months in a wheelchair, crutches and canes and all that stuff. So I was so grateful that I had taken the time in my life to study and that I had such great teachers. Because really what it's about is technique and having some tools to work with. I don't know much about herbs. I just tell people to eat broccoli and that what goes in must come out. So that's the most important thing. If it's not, eat beets. I try not to diagnose anybody because I'm not a doctor. But I had a tremendous experience with tens of thousands of bodies. And not just, the rich and famous. I mean, I could, pick the names off the floor, and tell you very funny Madonna and Sting stories and stuff like that. But I've also volunteered at a local high school for the last 8 years and have groups of 50 and 60 teenagers. I learned how to teaching in juvenile hall 3 times a week. So it's not just adults who are giving me money to say, tell me about myself. But right now I've just been accepted to teach in the LA County jail system. Because I really believe in one by one. We need to do this one by one, and that what we all share in common is that we all have a body. We all have a body. We have different backgrounds, we have different belief systems, but the body hasn't essentially changed in thousands of years. It's the same body. And so the yoga techniques, I have a big yoga background. I became a yoga teacher in 1975. And so I taught yoga therapy for decades before I became a Pilates teacher. I became a Pilates teacher in 1986. At the time, it was easier for me to teach Pilates because it didn't have a belief system. It wasn't like, oh, you have to be celibate or stop shaving your legs or be vegetarian or wear white or, it just was easier to say, drop your shoulders, pull in your stomach, squeeze your butt, your hour's up, see you next week. Because psychology is not my forte. My forte seems to be structure. And when I did have my accident and I was in the hospital for a while, what I realized, the thing that I'm obsessed with right now is time. And most of us don't even wear watches anymore because we use our cell phones. But if you remember when you were in school, or prison, or the hospital, they always had that big clock on the wall with the second hand. So our biggest problem and what we have in common is time and time passing. And what to do with time and our mind and our body while time is passing. And that's, to me, my biggest subject right now is time is passing, what do I do with it? So when I'm at the post office and I see that there's 9 people in front of me, I start doing my posture exercises. When I'm stuck in traffic and I see it's going to take me 20 minutes to get somewhere, so I start doing my breathing exercises. And what I want to do today is not lecture, because that's not going to change your life whatsoever, but to actually go over some practical techniques. And I've been really working on techniques in the bathroom, in the bed, in the car, on the couch, in the chair. Something where it doesn't look like a gym. There is no equipment. But what to really do with yourself. Most of us, it's easier to help other people. As mothers or as women or as givers, we help other people, but rarely do we take the time for ourselves, but yet we have lots of time. We do have time. Where do we have it? We have it in the bathtub when I do my toe exercises. So it's, and so Kate had asked me, if I could give some techniques. So I was thinking, okay, I have about 6,500 techniques. And which ones should we do? And breathing. First thing you do is take a breath. Last thing you do is take a breath. Everybody always says, oh, take a deep breath. Nobody knows how to breathe. And then sometimes if we haven't been trained how to breathe as a singer, or in yoga, or as a, if you play, he's the violin player, but if you play a tuba or something like that, a flute, but even then the breath control is wrong. So the things that I have come to realize are the most important things that you can control. Because let's agree that there's so many things out of our control. So there's really, I can't talk about Iraq, can't control it. Cannot control global warming, cannot control the economy, cannot even control my boyfriend. But there are things you can control and things you can't control. So one of the things that we can control are breathing. And when you can control your breathing, you have somewhat control of your mind. So everybody's talking my body, my body, my body, my body. Nobody really knows what that means. And so the first part of controlling your mind is giving your mind something to think about other than itself, which is stress management. So if you're breathing, you're thinking of controlling your breath. If you're listening to music, you can't be thinking of your neurotic thoughts. And our biggest problem right now is stress and time. So through breathing and through posture, it gives us something to do with those two situations. So when I was coming over on the plane and started to think about the subject, because for me it's very easy to make someone have a tight butt or a flat stomach or good triceps. That's just technique. That's very easy. But how do we control the monkey mind? And how do we make ourselves healthier? And the subject is health. And personally, I believe through the thousands of bodies that I've worked with, that circulation cures almost all problems. It's free. Circulation, getting what comes in out. So okay, eat bad, but just make sure you eliminate it. That's all. So what I want to do is to just go over some techniques, because that's the most important thing I think that we can come away with today is tools. What's in your tool bag? And all the money in the world won't help you look at Jackie Onassis. What helps you is having your little toolkit to how to get through whatever the situation is. You're with your father, he's got dementia, that's what I'm going through right now. I'm in the car, I'm freaking out. I said, okay, you're going to start your breath, your 8-count breath, and you're not going to stop your 8-count breath till you get 20 minutes away. And so there are little techniques. I call it movement is medicine. Movement is your medication. And if you're not moving physically, at least you can move your breath. So let's go over some basics. What I wanted you to do is to sit in your chair and sit back in your chair and bring your feet flat on the floor. And you're going to be in what we call a square or a box. In Pilates, they talk a lot about the box. So we want to have our body like that, so that your shoulders are square over your hips. That's the first thing, is that you get your horizontal lines. You look better already. Yeah. I tell a lot of if I'm working with people, and it's not just movie stars, I work with a lot of brides, I like to work with a lot of people trying to get jobs. I tell them when you walk into a room, rather than your mother say, sit up straight, I'll say, lead with your nipples. It's a great technique of just picking yourself up. And you have to find cute little things. You don't want to say, don't slouch. You want to come up with cute little things that people will remember. So this is the box, this is the square, that's your body. So you have the horizontal lines of your shoulders over your hips, and the vertical lines, which is your waist. I like to count the neck as so much better. A neck, especially as a room full of women, a lot of beauty in a woman is in her neck. And just having that long neck. And your arms and your legs just relaxed at your side. And so you're in that box. Now I want you to feel on it, because this I do a lot in the car, on the airplane. Look, we've been sitting all day. You sit in a chair, you get the body of a chair. You sit in a couch, you get the body of a couch. So if you're at least going to be sitting, feel yourself square. You look better already. And now I want you to feel your shoulder blades back on the chair. I do this in the jails with people against the walls a lot. Walls are a great place to work with people. And now pull your stomach into the back of the chair. Scoop it really tight. And then I want you to put in the back of your neck like a little C curve. So So your chin is straight. Yeah, that looks much better. So much better. Now you've placed everything. Now just relax it. Yeah, so you don't have to hold it. You're just going to relax it. Oh, you look gorgeous, okay? No, seriously. Because the quickest thing you can do to improve your look is to just align your bones right. So it's called the alignment of the bones, where all the bones are in the right position, right? So it's not military where you're pulling your shoulders back. I feel that in my upper back. But my shoulders are just square over my hips. So you align your bones, and then your muscles control the placement of the bones, okay? And that's the same as when you're standing. Right now we're just going to do sitting because we'll do it in different positions. So when you're standing, I'm sorry, I don't know a lot about the Jewish religion except they're really nice people. And they feed me all the time. But if you're standing a lot in temple, then you're standing also in that square. And you sway from side to side, so you're switching your weight a little bit, so you're not just standing straight. If you don't have any knee problems or any foot problems, then in Pilates they say you turn out in a little bit of a V. And if you ever see the guards over at Buckingham Palace who have to stand all day, or people who have to stand all day in military position, Joe Pilates just called that natural V. Like if you hang a skeleton, that's how your bones hang. And so when you're standing, you're also pulling your stomach in at any opportunity, and you can squeeze your butt and your inner thighs. So that when you're standing, it's an exercise. So as soon as I see I'm at the bank, and there's 10 people in front of me, rather than I come into my position, I get into my box, I put my head on top of my box, I squeeze my stomach, my butt, my inner thighs. They go, oh, that's going to take me 12 minutes before I get to the teller. I got my 12 minutes in right there. Someone's boring me. That happen? Yeah, I just stand there, I get into my box, pull my stomach and butt in, lift up my chin, and sway from side to side. So first you put your bones in alignment, then you allow your muscles to place them in the right position, and then we're going to work a little bit on our breathing, okay? Because nobody knows how to breathe, and we all know because we're all mature, our own fear, our own being alone, our own being at night, or being at the doctor's, or those points where you're just deeply conscious of life and its frailness. And then I just start saying my prayers with my breath, for company. Just do my prayers. So we're going to work on our breathing right now. Okay, what I want you to do is, does anybody have a watch with a second hand?
Yeah.
Okay? So if you have a watch with a second hand, I want you to look at it. I'm going to count for everybody else. Come back into your square, your box. You want to get your box. You can think outside of the box, but live within your box. Okay. So first we're going to start with a deep exhale. I want you to pull your stomach in, exhale all the air out. We're going to start with a 6 count inhale. Okay, so I want you to inhale 1, 2, through the nose, 3. Straighten your head out, please. 4, 5, 6. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing's through the nose. The nose is for breathing. The mouth's for kissing and eating. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale 1, 2, 3. Pull your stomach in. 4, 5, 6. Continue while I teach you more. The exhalation. 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhalation is an upward motion. Exhalation is not a collapse. As you exhale, you pull the stomach in, and your discs will lift up. Your spine will lift up. Just relax a little bit. Yeah. You don't want to have any tension. The inhalation is a lateral, sideways, thoracic movement. Just relax your shoulders a little bit. Yeah. You don't want to cause any tension. We don't want to get rid of the tension. It causes too much energy. So as you inhale, you're going to inhale sideways. So feel your ribs expand into the back of the chair. Your intercostal muscles are respiratory muscles to make you breathe. Just relax a little bit. Yeah. You place yourself, but don't hold yourself. That causes too much tension. Now let's take it up to 8. Inhale 1, 2, sideways. 3, 4. Let your ribs go sideways. 5, 6, 7, 8. exhale 1, 2. Lift up when you exhale. Pull your stomach in, let the spine lift up. 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. Inhale 1, 2, 3. Sideways. Let your ribs go sideways. 6, 7, 8. Exhale slow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Now, take your right index finger, I'm opposite you, and place it, close your right nostril. Now let's just inhale through the left nostril. You don't have to push the nose over anything. You can just very lightly close the cartilage on top. Okay, inhale slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale slow. It's easier to inhale than to exhale. The yogis say in the scriptures, let's do 3 rounds of those. Keep going. You gotta breathe anyway, so you might as well breathe deep. You might as well breathe through one nostril. The yogis say that the exhalation works on control of the death. We have that fear. And so by practicing control of the exhalation, you can work on a lot of the fear. Good. Let's do one more round. The yogis also say that when you inhale like a finger length of breath. So if you can imagine it's a volume, you like to inhale 1 finger length, 2 finger lengths, 3 finger lengths, 4 finger lengths, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale slow. Try to control the exhale. When you exhale, pull your stomach in, force all the air out, the dead, stale air at the bottom of the lungs. Now switch hands, switch nostrils. So I do this during scary movies. Keep going. You gotta breathe anyway, so breathe through one nostril. They say the left nostril controls the right brain, the right nostril controls the left brain. So the left side is your more emotional, creative side. Your right side is your more linear, academic side. So if you gotta go sign a contract and a lease or something like that, you're gonna do right nostril breathing. But if you wanna create a poem or music or something like that, you can control which side of the brain you want to stimulate by which nostril. Okay? Now just inhale through both nostrils. Deep, 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 deep. And exhale everything out. Good, and then just relax for a second. So fortunately, God breathes for us. So we don't have to worry, but we have short, shallow breaths. Most people breathe about 30 to 50 times a minute. So when we were just inhaling for 8 counts, exhaling for 8 counts, we were taking 4 breaths a minute. 4 breaths a minute, instead of 30 to 50 breaths a minute. My friend in the back on oxygen, she knows how important breathing is. So in this one way, you can get more oxygen to your body, get more health to all the cells. Exhale out a lot of the tension and the stress which is causing us to get sick. And the breathing techniques, they're called pranayama in yoga, but there's so many that you can do. So we did both nostrils to a count of 6 or 8. We did left nostril breathing. We did right nostril breathing. Sometimes, if you have a deviated septum or if you have a cold and maybe you can't breathe so much through your nose, someone passed gas or something like that. Bad smells, you're going through Wilmington, California or something. But the most important thing I learned recently, after all these decades of practicing all these techniques, was when I couldn't move. I was in the hospital with this and that and the other. I couldn't move, I couldn't do Pilates, I couldn't go upstairs, I couldn't get on any equipment. I would watch that clock, right? You're watching for your next medication or for visitors or when the bad food's coming or whatever. There's nothing to do but watch the clock. It's one of the things I teach in jails and prisons, because we're all in the prison of the body. We're all here prisoners of time. We're all here by grace of God. So I watch the clock and I try to inhale it up to 20 seconds, holding the breath, exhaling it to 20 seconds. So in yoga they do it's called a 1 minute breath. So instead of breathing 60 times a minute, you're breathing 1 time a minute. Okay, so what that does when you have a breath technique, and for those of you who have, I don't know if in your religion you do daily prayers, and in the yoga faith we do daily prayers. I may do as a Catholic, I may do the Hail Marys. Or in the yoga prayers, I'll inhale a mantra and exhale a mantra. So in the beginning of meditation, you have to concentrate on something. So your breath gives you something to concentrate on. So you're not there thinking of, oh, he said this and she said that and I want this and I want that. The mind, which is both negative and positive, is jumping all around. And the mind is either in the past, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, what they did to me, or in the present, or in the future. I'm going to do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. It's only the breath that's in the present. Only the breath is in the present. So when we link the mind to the breath, then we're in the present moment. That's why they say be present. And even though Dr. Oz is doing wonderful things on his show, kind of annoys me when he teaches yoga, because he does yoga, but he's not a yoga teacher. And he'll say, like, take a deep breath, and everybody goes, and they've got like a 2-second breath there. Exhale. And that's it. That's all anybody knows about deep breathing. So deep breathing is something you can do at the red light. Go, it's going to take 3 minutes. I'm going to do my 3-minute deep breath. Okay, so that's one technique on making your inhalation and your exhalation equal. Okay, so now let's try another technique. I want you to inhale, hold the breath, and now pump your navel with the breath held. Pull the belly into the back, pump the navel. Exhale, let it go. Not the pregnant lady. Inhale deep. Hold the breath, pump the navel. So you have 72,000 nerves that run through your body. You know, remember umbilical cord things? Exhale, let it go. So again, movement can help you. Inhale deep. Hold the breath, pump the navel. Exhale. So in yoga therapy, you want to bring it up to about 26 pumps, 26, 28 pumps with the breath held in. And that's a way to stimulate your nervous system from here and to help, again, if you have any digestive disorders. So the breath technique is very, very important. Okay? So we've done long, deep breathing through both nostrils. We've done alternate nostril breathing. We've done holding the breath and pumping the navel. All these things you can do in the privacy of your home or when you're driving or someone's boring you. So I'll stand in my little Pilates position, squeeze my butt, do long, deep breathing, and I won't feel like I'm wasting my life, right? Because you're either regenerating yourself or you're degenerating. You're either getting healthier or you're not getting healthier. Time's passing. You're either cells are renewing and you're doing something right, or gravity's on your case and you're just getting older. So these are one of the things that really, 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 really help. And so let's do another one. I love breathing because it's free, and because I'm always driving. I'm like, oh, that's got 2 hours drive, So I might remember to squeeze and release my butt for half an hour. Yeah.
You're telling us to exhale through our nose. Is that correct?
That's correct. Now there are different, there's lots and lots of breath techniques. We'll go over a few more. The nose filters the air, it cools it down before it goes into the lungs, and it also cleans all the pollution out. So the nose is meant for breathing and smelling. The mouth is meant for talking, kissing, and eating. So you watch people. I watch politicians, I watch actors. All I do is watch breathing. It's a little bit obsessive. Yeah. But because I'm just very interested in people. I'm interested in people if they breathe through their nose or they breathe through their mouth. And you watch people like this. They have dry mouths. They're getting no oxygen. A lot of people get really high off of breathing. It's a cheap, free, healthy high. It's cool. Okay, so next what we're going to do is breath of fire. Okay, so sit back in your square. You want to feel the chair behind you so that your shoulder blades are down on your back. We say, I don't like to use a lot of anatomy because if you say, drop your scapula, people aren't sure it has an S. Is it my sternum? Is it my sacrum? Is it my scapula? Is it scapula? And they don't really take the direction. But if you say to someone, drop your wing, they know exactly what you're saying. So I don't like to use a lot of anatomy when I teach because we're not anatomical people. So I like to say, have your wing on your rib cage. So a lot of people say, oh, my shoulders always come up, and they have a lot of tension in their shoulders. And this is our bodies are animals. Our spirits are divine, but our bodies, it's an animal body. And as animals, we want to protect our neck because that's where we're vulnerable. That's where, everybody attacks, everybody grabs the neck. So this is always defensive. It's a defensive mood. This is an open mood. You're going to walk in, you're going to go in for a job interview, lead with your nipples, and long neck, carrying a crown. And your body posture will tell that person everything they need to know. You're either depressed, you're either beaten down, or you're proud and strong. Just throw it out and see what you got. So again, the posture. And I like to work a lot with, we're going to do some standing stuff because I don't like to sit too much. It's more comfortable to stand. I like to work a lot with the wall. So that when I'm in my home or in my studio, because a lot of people don't know what proper posture is. So I will work a lot with the wall. And when you go against the wall, Kate was doing it because she's got a baby to carry, your head is in the right position. It's not forward. So people go like, where is, if you say to someone, pick up your head, they go like this. Right? What does that do? It overstretches my turkey neck, and it cramps up and condenses my circles back here. That's not picking up your head. A lot of people go like this. They have like 4 chins and a military neck. And so a lot of people who have like scoliosis and stuff like that, very common. I'm a structural person, so I work a lot with the structural body. You have a lot of, the position of the head is almost the biggest thing you can do to affect your posture better. So you want to watch people, you watch guys. I watch a lot of, I got addicted to TV. I'm a TV addict. I admit it. I love it. I don't care. I have some problem. I'm so addicted to TV. Yeah. No, NCIS. And the news. And I watch people's posture and their breathing. But there's something about guys that you watch them and they're always like this. Their head's always cocked to one side like that. They walk in the room like that. They come. All I'm going to do on CSI Miami is take that guy and throw him against the wall. In fact, I worked with Al Pacino, and that was pretty deep. And I couldn't. I said to him, and someone had brought him to me because he had a really bad back. And Al likes cute little young sexy women, and he doesn't really want to exercise. He just wants to be massaged and stretched. And he had a really bad problem. And I said, you're very toxic. You need to detox. And he said, I eat nuts. Is that good? I said, yeah, but not more than 7, But I couldn't help it. I said, I need to. I've waited for years for this, ever since, thank you. And now he's, in his 60s, so your pattern is set. Again, there are things, what you need to identify is, what can I control and what can't I control? What can I change and what can't I change? Health is, I'm sorry, it's a luck of the draw. We're in Vegas. It's like whatever hand you got dealt, that's the hand you got dealt. You came in female. Fortunately, we came in this era, we're not 2,000 years ago. So you've got the genetics of your parents or your grandparents. And health is, number 1, a luck of the draw. That's just it. Number 2, it's your environment. Whether you were raised in Detroit with, factories or whether you were raised out here. And then number 3 is your lifestyle. That's the ones you can't control, which is what you eat and what you do and who you hang out with. So funny, because Kate said, I'm going to give a lecture on health, and I got sick last week. I said, how can I go there with a lecture on health? And so, but I got sick from my boyfriend. So I was like, be healthy, stay away from unhealthy people. Right, but you got kids, you got family members, someone sneezes, that's it, And, so it's your genetics, it's the environment, and it's your lifestyle. And that's the third one, and that's the one we can control, And so we're already at this stage, it's fortunate if, people worry about getting older, but I say, no, it just beats the alternatives. And the body with breath can do anything. So let's come up standing now. That's okay with everybody except the lady. If you want to sit, you can. Okay, and let's stand behind our chairs. It's really funny because I designed this whole program for the jail system. I was telling Kate, and then I said, "Oh, can we take our shoes off?" They go, "You don't want to take your shoes off." There's more staph infection in jail than anywhere. I said, "Oh," and then, so obviously we can't lay down. So I've been working on stuff to do, not just in the airplane, in the bathtub, but with our chairs. Okay, so I want you to stand in your box with your shoulders over your hips. And your head, this bone in the back here, should be over this bone here, as if you're against a wall. So what you want is, but don't overstretch the neck. You want to have this long length between your ears and your shoulders here. Yeah, normally we take people and put them against the wall. Great. And put the head back on the wall. So whenever you're unsure where your head belongs, just go against the wall and then you're straight. Now, the wings are down on the ribs, and pull your stomach in. You look gorgeous. Okay, now pull your stomach in, and just switch over to your left leg. Not too far, and then just switch over to your right leg. So not too far, but you just want to so if you're going to be standing for a long time, you shift your weight from one leg to the other, just so you're not in your joints all the time. Okay, now come back to center, pull your stomach in, look straight. Be long, beautiful necks where you're going to have long diamond earrings. Pull your stomach in. This will be hard for me because I'm just bringing myself back here. Pull your stomach in and pick your right leg up. Just stand on one leg. You're breathing. You have to keep your eyes open when you're doing balance poses. Good, back there. Switch, stand on the other leg, pick it up. You have to sway too far. But for me, I'm just teaching myself because I broke this whole side of my body, so I give myself little exercises now. I'm so happy to be. I think the walk in the airport last night was the longest walk I've taken in a year and a half. So I'm really happy to be here and standing on one leg. Okay, just pick one foot up, balance. So you can hold on to the chair if you need to. You have to keep your eyes open when you're doing balance poses because you need your brain to balance. And switch. So we do this a lot with pregnant ladies. We do this a lot with aging people because number one problem is people fall and hurt themselves. Careful on your foot. Okay, now take the leg, stand on both legs, and bring your right leg behind you. And lift yourself up. Just balance on the one leg, but if you need to hold on to the chair, hold on. So yes, this is a great butt exercise. When you bring your leg behind you, it tightens your butt. It's also good for sciatic. And switch and bring the other leg behind you. So when we're sitting in a chair, we're like, ugh, and our lower back is rounded. That's why we get a lot of sciatic problems. And when you bring your leg, switch legs, bring your other leg and bring it behind you. When you lift your leg behind you, your lower back tightens. It strengthens. So your butt gets rounder and your lower back tightens. Switch legs. So while you're sitting there preparing your herbs, or cooking your macaronis, your meat, your whatever. While you're sitting there waiting for the thing to boil, you come into your posture and you stand on one leg. Okay, now let's just take the right leg and bring it out to the side a little bit. So when you bring your leg out to the side, keep your eyes open. We call it abduction because ab, Latin words away. But this muscle here, the butt muscle, the glute med over the hip, put your hand on your hip and bring your leg out a little bit. Feel it tighten. Switch legs. So you're bringing your leg away from your body and you're tightening that muscle. It's a little bit of a oblique, it's a little bit of what they call a QL, this muscle right here, but it's your glute med. One more time, switch legs, hold it out. And then if you want to add a little bit more work into it, but these I do like I'm at the airport and I'm waiting for somebody to come in, their plane's going to be 20 minutes late. Go, 20 minutes to work on my butt. 20 minutes to work on my balance, 20 minutes to work on my breathing. Good, and come back. Take the right leg and then bring it in front and over to the other leg. Hold on to the chair. So when you bring any muscles in, it's called adduction. So this is inner thigh, you bring it in. Switch. Bring the other one in. So that the inner thigh muscles in here is what's bringing the leg in. You can also do it when you're lying on your back. Bring it back. Okay, so let's stand in our little V position. And I want you to make sure that your ankles are not touching. but the ankles are almost got like a golf ball size between them. Okay? A lot of people, they go, oh, I have flat feet, my mother had flat feet, my dad had flat feet. But you can work, it's called pronation when you turn in. But you want the weight to be on the outside of the foot, so you have a big base. Now when your weight goes to the outside of your foot, what happens is you're working more of your outer thigh muscles because this muscle wraps around the trochanter here, it wraps around this bone. So when you're standing, you want to be in that V position with make sure that the ankles aren't touching. So again, the alignment of the bones. We're not sure sometimes if we're using our muscles, but we can see what bones we're using. Okay, now just feel like you're against the wall. And just bend your knees down a little bit. And squeeze your butt and stand up. Let's just do 5. Stay against the wall. So as you go down, feel like you're getting taller. Yeah, and up just like you're a puppet. And you're being lifted up. Nice neck back there, Kate. And we do a lot of wall work with people. This is like the same as being on a little Pilates machine. We don't like to say the pliés, because I wasn't a dancer. A lot of people weren't. One more. Now bring your feet together. But squeeze your inner thighs really tight and wrap that butt around. And give me a long neck. Thank you. Now just go down a little bit. Squeeze your stomach and butt and come back up. Let's just do 5. So when it's real small and subtle like that, I want you to breathe through your nose, but don't look up. When you look up, you overstretch the skin, tighten the neck. Yeah. So I'll be at the airport or the post office. You wouldn't believe what I do. I'm just sitting there, nobody cares. People are picking their nose or on their cell phone, arguing with people. I'm just sitting there going, I have 20 minutes here, I think we'll do this. Good, now open your legs hip distance. Again, feel like you're against a wall. Now there's no reason you can't do 20 of these, we're just doing 5. Go down a little bit. Squeeze your butt and stand up. Yeah, squeeze it when you go down and when you come up. Let's go for 5. Nice. So these are the same things you would do if you were on a Pilates machine, paying $85 an hour. Yeah. Okay, come back in your V position. If you need to, hold on to the chair. Hold on if you need to, but then if you can't, take your hand off. I want you to lift up on your toes, but don't let your ankles touch. But grow taller for me. When you lower your heels, grow taller. Yes, that looks gorgeous. Good job. You can see it in people when you see these muscles working here. Now these exercises are important. The most important thing you can do for your posture is the position of your head. Don't overstretch. Yeah. So do 2 more. Wherever the eyes look is really important. Okay, don't you feel better already? Better, huh? Okay, now you sit down. Lecture time. So I just want to give you some as much information as I can, but for useful tools that you can use. So wherever your eyes look, your head's going to follow. So I watch people and they go walking, right? Walking is a great exercise. It's free, it's cardio, it's cross crawl. But when they walk, they're looking down, their heads are like this. So what happens? The head weighs 12 or 15 pounds. As soon as your head comes forward, these muscles here are straining to hold you up. So you'll see a lot of people when they have dowager's humps, and they're round-shouldered because their head is forward and they're looking down. They're looking down when they walk. They walk like this, they breathe like this, and they're walking and they're doing things with their arms back here, really odd things. So what are the things we do the most? We sleep, we breathe, we walk, and when you go to an exercise class or something, everybody's always correcting you, but in our normal daily life, where we live 24 hours a day, is where you need the corrections. So it does help a little bit to have someone watch how you stand. To give you an example, I was very tall as a teenager in high school, and all the cute guys were 5'7", and I was 5'9", so I stood like this. Hip jutted out, so I'd be like 5'7", and I have a constant hip problem because I was like cool and like this. And people, you'll see it, little children will copy their parents' posture. And now, one of the reasons why I'm working a lot in the high schools is to get children when they're younger. So before you get the adults and they've already got these patterns in their bodies, and you can change some patterns. You can't change bones, but you can change muscles. So if someone already has, the scoliosis, you can't straighten their back, but you can stretch the tighter side, you can strengthen the weaker side. A little complicated because all the curves are different. But you see kids now, and this whole last generation or two have been raised with these backpacks. And so all the kids are already kyphotic, already round-shouldered, with their necks jutting forward like this. Okay, let's forget obesity. Let's just talk about the alignment of the bones. That's a guaranteed herniated neck. It's guaranteed lower back problems. So part of my mission, which is Joe Pilates' mission, I kind of borrowed his mission, and all of our missions, and the ladies here who are involved in charitable work, is to prevent suffering. Prevent suffering. And to educate people. You can educate them, in computers or math or science, but we all live in the body, and it's the body which we suffer from. So mother's like, stand up straight. And it's like, and again, it's not the right alignment of the bones. So we want to think of the alignment of the bones, the box, the position of the muscles, the breathing. I have a home in Big Bear, and we just drove down. I had an extreme headache. Maybe it was a mineral deficiency, I don't know. Maybe it was the boyfriend, I don't know. I had such a bad headache for 2 days. And when you're alone in the middle of the night, that's the things I'm talking about. When you're at the doctor's office or you're alone, not when we're consuming and we're doing retail therapy or we're giving and so we feel better with the hairdresser. But I'm talking about when you're alone, And so I couldn't go to sleep, and I'm sitting there. Lost it? Okay, so I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to figure out why I have a headache. And I'm massaging myself, and finally after about 2 hours I said, oh, it was your 12-hour marathon of NCIS. Your eyes hurt. That's why you have a headache. And I went, oh, okay, I don't have a brain tumor. I didn't eat the raw meat. It was just from, and so you have to go deep into yourself to say, what caused this suffering? And is it something I can fix or not fix? Have I gone to the bathroom? Sometimes you go to the bathroom, you feel much better, get it out, you ate that. And so it's what we call the too much syndrome. So a lot of times you talk to people, in my line of work, I'm not a doctor, but people come in, and I just look in their eyes and go, how do you feel? Just tell me how you feel, because I'm more of an intuitive than a linear teacher. How do you feel? I feel great. I go, okay, now we're really going to work. How do you feel? Oh, I have a headache. My baby kept me up all night, or I'm jet lagged, or I, been at the computer all day long, and you try to find out what caused the problem. So I was talking to this young woman this morning, and a lot of stuff is occupational or repetitive motion, right? We have people who have carpal tunnel syndrome because they're at the computer all day. Their lower backs hurt because they're sitting like this. I don't have any of my toys with me today. I don't even have business cards, toys, or I don't have anything to sell you. I just give me a room full of people and a mic, and that's it. That's why I like the prisoners. I have a captive audience. It's like they go, stay in your cell, or you can come to class. And those are the choices. It's a little bit spooky at first. You can't wear orange or, bobby pins or anything. But then you've got a room just like this. You've got a room full of people, and of those people, you're going to have a shoulder problem, you're going to have a back problem, you're going to have a foot problem, you're going to have a neck problem. And structural problems, for the most part, can be helped through circulation, through body work, to break up scar tissue, and through proper movement. So whatever movement you have, you want to do the opposite movement. Oh, lots of techniques. Okay, so I was trying to, except that I was in the hospital when Oprah was interviewing people for her show. Instead of going to the gym, things to do on your couch, a whole couch workout. We don't have a couch here. But when you get home, I want you to, how you have a couch and it has the beautiful arm at the end, the arm like that. Go back over your couch like this. You can put a pillow on your head if you have a tight neck. What you want to do is the opposite of what you do. So if you're like this, you want to go back like that. And you want to open up your chest muscles, which will open up your lungs. You want to open up your back muscles, which are really, really tight. And one of the, when we're talking about, should I put it on the board? Yeah. Next subject. Gravity. Gravity will kill you. Right? I mean, one of the laws of nature, right? Gravity. It's one of the things that we are sure that there's gravity. Gravity is what kills you. Gravity is on your case. So anti-gravity is extension. When you start becoming like this, you start having your mother's body or your aunt's body, or gravity's been on your case for 5, 6, 7, 8 decades. You start collapsing like this, then the heart and the lungs and the organs get squished. They're not happy. So you need to go opposite and go backwards. I love those little things they have now. I should be a spokesman. They're about $350, but they're things that you put your feet in and lie backwards, anti-gravity things, which reverses the blood flow. So gravity is pulling all your organs down, and this reverses your blood flow. But every single body is different. So if you have migraines, for instance, you shouldn't go backwards. If you have glaucoma, for instance, you shouldn't go backwards. That sort of thing. Every single body is different. And that's why I don't really like group classes. That's why I don't really like infomercials, which are mostly they're ridiculous. But I really like, again, the time I've spent having a teacher who made me count out my breaths for years and years and years. So it's the habit I have now to breathe. I mean, when I remember to. Even now I have to remember to breathe. Okay? So, gravity. So the lady with her foot in a boot. Whenever you have a swollen knee or a swollen foot or swollen legs, inversion, reversing the flow of gravity, helping the blood work go back up, helping the heart go back up. So my favorite exercise in the last year, during my NCIS marathons, and they have good posture, by the way, is lying on my back, and I try to hold on the couch or on the bed and hold the leg up. I started with the commercials, now I can do it the whole half-hour show or hour show. It's like time's going to pass anyway, so you either breathe shallow and succumb to gravity, or you can just hold your legs up. My back has gotten so strong from that, while my legs were healing. And by the way, I'd rather have broken leg than cancer. Because it's just time and structure and, you have more, I'd much rather. In fact, that's what I always say. It's like, hey, it's not cancer, it's just broken. But I thought I knew it a lot. And then once I got myself really injured, I found out that I was full of hot air. Didn't really know that much. And I like doctors because they're educated. And they just go, how do you feel? And I learned a lot from the physical therapists. So, yes, ma'am?
What would cause the outside of your legs to go numb when you're walking or standing?
Could be the back. The nerves in the back. If the discs are disintegrating here and they start to collapse, like next time we need a mic that hooks to the lapel. I'm a two-handed teacher. Your discs are like this. The nerve goes like that, and then as the discs get smaller and squishier, or if you're like this, you can impinge on the nerve, and the nerve flow that goes to those muscles will stop, and the circulation will stop.
Can you improve that with Pilates? Or?
You can improve it with Pilates, but it's really about the teacher, because in Pilates, which has become like a catchphrase, and I am truly one of the world's leading experts. I consider myself, because started Pilates in 81, became a teacher in 86, sold $2 million in equipment, do international teacher training programs, taught in Moscow. That wasn't any fun, my jokes don't translate. And they were just all got on the equipment, started doing things, I'm like, yeah. Don't do that. But it's what that body should do. So what's good if you're getting numbing pains, the first thing you need to do is get diagnosed. So Western medicine is really, really good for diagnostics. I love, a lady comes in and she goes, oh, I have a pain. How do you feel? Oh, my hip hurts. Well, what's wrong with your hip? I don't know. Well, I don't know either. So is it a disintegrating hip? Is it an arthritic hip? Is it an inflamed hip? Because once we know what the diagnosis is, then the treatment is different. So I'm really into Western diagnosis, MRI and medicine, and then what are your choices? So once you're diagnosed, then you can say, and here are the choices. The choices are surgery. I'm also into surgery. There's no reason to suffer. Like I know a lot of people. I had a lady, she's very, you can kind of tell body types. It's kind of my field. Not psychology, but physics. The body is kind of my experience now. And a lot of times people who are very, very flexible have the scoliosis because they can't hold their bones in position. And a lot of people calcify. They calcify a lot. So this lady had a lot of bone spurs in her spine. And so she was getting numbness and tingling down the leg, right? So numbness and tingling could be sciatic, it could be a back problem, it could be so many things, tumor, bad posture. So she went in, she had the x-ray, and they said you have bone spurs. And so, what happens when you don't have proper posture, and let's face it, of everything we teach people, we don't teach them how to breathe, we don't teach them how to have good posture, all those things. When you have bad posture, let's say you get, bunions, right? Bunions is a common problem. So when you're born, you have a weak leg or whatever, and the distribution of your weight, the alignment of your bones isn't right. So the foot starts to calcify. It starts to spread out and create more bone because maybe you're turning in on your ankle. Maybe you have a weak inner thigh or a weak knee or a weak ankle, we don't know what. But there's not enough room to handle the weight, which is distributed in 3 curves and down. So the bone starts to calcify to give your body more of a base to stand. And so you have one problem, now you've created another problem. So this lady, because she was so flexible, and that was a genetic condition, the luck of the draw. Some people are born tight, some people are born loose. I think tight is a better problem, because if you're tight, you can loosen up, but if you're loose, in your joints, like, when I work with Thurman, she has a lot of laxicity in her body. She's very flexible. And so when I trained her, we're Batman and Kill Bill, had to do a lot of proper range of motion exercises because she goes out of her joint. Pregnancy, when you get a lot of relaxin in your body, your bones move, you go out of your joint. So this lady who had the scoliosis created a lot of bone spurs because her body needed to calcify to hold up the weight. Understand? We get bone spurs in our neck because our head is not in the right position. We are not flowers on the stem. We are not puppets being lifted. We're depressed looking down in our pretty shoes. Whatever, looking for money on the floor. I don't know what we're looking for. We're looking down. I had this one guy. Unfortunately, he was already 76 when he came in. Oh no. I need 3 more days. And he was like this. And I said, Ernie, you keep looking down. He goes, I'm shy. Ernie, I wish I had you 40 years ago. But so the lady who created bone spurs was impinging on the nerve, and her leg was numbed out of her toes. And so they went in and cleaned up the bone spurs. So in diagnosis, I like medical Western diagnosis. Surgery, if it's going to take you out of pain and suffering. And then looking what your choices are. There's surgery, there's drugs, there's movement, there's acupuncture, and there's herbs. But the most important thing is your posture, your box, the alignment of the bones. Yeah?
I don't want to interrupt you, but
Oh, anyway.
I think that, I'm sorry. I think people like yourself, if we had some people that were in Pilates, all of that would help them go through life with posture. Like you said, your teacher, the person you worked with, he told you so many times to breathe. Now it's in your head. Now when you're doing something, it's still there. That's the problem. We don't have it in our mind. And I did ballet for 11 years. Now when I'm washing my baby's bottles, I'm standing there doing ballet. So I'm wasting time anyway. Sitting like this all day long and carrying them on my hip, I might as well do it. But it's because I had it 11 years.
So that was one of Joe Pilates' ideas, and it's funny because now that I've studied his work, which is very German. By the way, he never studied yoga, and there is no yoga in Pilates, and there is no yoga Pilates. Yeah, it's true. They go, oh yeah, but it looks like yoga. Well, gymnastics looks like yoga. But his idea was also to put it in the school systems because sports are good and exercise is good, but that's kind of random stuff. What you want to do is corrective exercise, so you don't suffer, so you don't create a problem. Corrective exercise, which is what is wrong. And getting back to her situation, repetitive motion, we call it too much syndrome. Doing the same thing over and over and over again is not the way the body was meant to function. The body, not too long ago, I see you just had your huge technical conference here in Vegas, and everybody's like teched out. But the body itself hasn't changed. We're on the earth for 0 to 9 decades. Nobody gets out alive. Nobody's happy about it. That's just we're just fleas on the back. God's in control. That's the way it is. But to be happy, which is your birthright, you have to be healthy because it's just no fun to suffer. And but what was funny when I studied the German, so Joe Pilates was very, very German. Born in 1883, turn of the century, German philosophy, before it got, crazy with Adolf and stuff. But the German philosophy at the turn of the century was really about people getting control of their own destiny, the universal man, that the mind itself can control the will and the body. And that's really what it's about. When I look at weight problems and substance problems and addiction problems, it really is a matter of exercising willpower. And how do we do that? How do we exercise our willpower? And it either comes from committing to some sort of program where you set a goal, whether that's knitting or whether that's housekeeping or whatever the goal is, to just exercise your will. And even though I sound like I maybe have it together, this last year and a half through my recovery, I'm like addicted to television and the couch. I'm just so happy to just be lazy. Except, my bank account and my butt. So now I'm pulling it together and pulling out my techniques. Yes, ma'am?
Not everybody can come to Beverly Hills to have a class with you. Are there any recommendations?
Yes, there are recommendations. First of all, I also live in Big Bear, which is only 3 hours away. Like I said, I didn't bring any business cards, but I do love answering questions. I have a newsletter. I love to answer questions. I love to give my opinions. We all do. But the best recommendation is to find yourself a very good teacher. A good teacher. And just like knowing a good person, intuitively we're given intuition to know what the truth is. That's why we eat something, we know it's good. We do something, we know it's good. And to find yourself a good teacher and say, like, this is my problem, what do I do about it? There are ways to save money and there are ways to do it really simple. For instance, you could do it in your home and have 8 of your friends over, and each one of your friends put in $20 and have somebody come in and work with you. It's really about time in your body. It really, really is. You know that. I'm trying to get that message out to people. It's not about, you can spend hundreds of dollars on your hair, you can have all the jewelry in the world, you can drive whatever car you want, and when you're in bed and you're in the bathtub, that's you. And that's what's real to me. That's what's real to me right now. So I've gotten much less into the Beverly Hills. In fact, I left Beverly Hills. It got a bit too Armenian for me. You know what I mean? A little bit too Kardashian for me. And I would rather work for free in the prisons, where I can try to, you talk about changing the economy, how much money we spend with people going back in there, because these people have never developed their willpower. They have all that time to work on their goals. Yes, I'll still, I still work with, individuals. So the most important thing is the true gift in life is to find yourself a teacher. Your mother is your first teacher. Think of the teachers in your life in school who have taught you things that have stayed with you. whatever that is, or what we've learned from each other. You know, if your neck hurts, your back hurts, someone can put their thumbs right in those rhomboids and just make you feel so much better. So it's really the intimacy of the one-on-one rather than the group. Because no matter what the fad is, you know, whatever it is right now, booty bar, pole dancing, whatever the latest gadget is, they're shaking, stuff like that. It's your body. It's you had a surgery, or you have a neck problem, or you have a foot problem, or you have a mental problem. Meaning you just can't stop that. I'll tell you just real quickly, and I know that they all have stories, but I'm just in this stage of my experience going through this thing with my older father, who is now losing his memory and going through all that thing. I don't know if you have ever had family members that go through that, but it's a pretty new and horrible situation for me. And I'm his main caregiver, which is pretty stressful. And the only way I can get out of my head, with his voice in my head and his problems in my head, you'll appreciate this, is I have a gong in my house. I just happen to have a gong. And I play that gong. I do two techniques to get my dad out of my head. Because it's how do I stop my mind? And if I'm breathing, I'm still thinking about it. I play the gong really loud as I say my chanting or my prayer. Because you can't listen and have your voice go on in the head at the same time. It's a different part of your brain. That's why if you go to a concert or you hear music's so spiritual, you have to listen. And when you're receiving, the voice is not going out in your head. I've gone back to doing my prayers, and I take them when I'm in the bathtub. I have all my own personal techniques. I'm not in a gym. I do 1 hour bubble bath on normal days and 2 hour bubble baths on the bad days. Yep, with Belmira bubble bath. I should be their spokesman, not Pilates, because I'm totally into bubble baths. And I take my prayer book and I read it out loud as I can. And it gives me comfort, because as I go through my suffering about my father, the prayers are saying everything happens according to God's will. God decides who is high and who is low, and who is rich and who is poor, and who is healthy and who is not. God has control of everything. And it's the only comfort I have, that, oh yeah, God is in control, and I'm not. I can do my breathing, I can do my butt. But it's in my prayers that I can find some comfort. But I have to practice that as a technique too. I have to say, okay, I'm going to go in the bathtub, and I'm going to read the prayers. I know you have a temple here, and you have group consciousness, and you have the you feel better when you're giving and stuff like that. But the main thing, the main beauty in life is to find a teacher. And I had the grace of God to find 3 teachers whose techniques now help me. Yeah, I don't know anything about herbs. I just try to eat a lot of broccoli and peppermint. I'm fine. Make sure I go to the bathroom, drink enough water, and I seem to be fine. So, yes, ma'am.
Hi, I want to go back to the backpacks. I have a son that's 13, and it's funny because the last few months I've really noticed when he walks down the street, he's kind of hunched over, and he's small, he's like 85 pounds and 5 foot. And very quiet, very shy. You described my son like 3 times. And I had thought about, taking that backpack away because I'm so concerned, because he's like just...
Good question about kids in the backpack. When we were in school, we had lockers, and we just went to the locker and took our books out. The thing you could do with the kid, especially if they're 85 and they're carrying a 40-pound backpack, is maybe get one on wheels.
It's hard.
There's stairs.
It'd be like
mortified.
In like 8th grade. It'd be like...
You have to do the opposite then. I mean, imagine if you're carrying those books. I mean, think about it. Hours a day, and their bones, which are growing, are starting to get like that. So you're going to have to do things. You have to do things with him. You have to do the opposite of what the problem is. And if you're healthy, you in front of his favorite TV show, platform poses, push-ups, or push-ups on the wall. We like push-ups on the wall. We're all about the wall. It's free. There's walls everywhere. To build up these muscles here. So what will happen is the back muscles will get over tightened, and these will atrophy. So you have to build up the chest muscles.
He's in Taekwondo. He's a second-degree black belt. But I just...
Well, Taekwondo is going to be a lot of kicking.
A lot of kicking.
Going in, that's
They do a lot of
good.
push-ups and stuff.
Yeah, so a lot of push-ups, and also the opposite. So back bending, you can get in one of those little fitness balls. The opposite of everything you do. If you're doing this, you got to do the opposite to counter-effect that energy. Yes, did you have a question? No. You want me my question in New York. Do we have any other questions? No? Yes, ma'am. High heels. I can't imagine. I've just gotten into flats for the first time, wearing shoes and high heels. They're sexy. They're sexy. I like that the herbalist had those little shoes on. How tall are you?
Short.
You're short. If you're going to do high heels, fortunately it's fashionable right now. Wedges give you a little bit more balance. I know a lot of people, I do work with a lot of celebs in LA, and they will they'll take a little pair of ballet shoes in with them, and they'll walk into the event in their shoes, and underneath the table they'll switch and put the shoes on. I have to tell you, I think one of the best things in the world, better than sex, is foot rubs. Foot rubs. So if you can just go to your, when you get your mani-pedi, and you give the lady a little extra $10, and just say, rub my feet. You know, the hands will heal almost anything that's musculoskeletal. We're meant to heal each other. We're meant to touch each other. You know, we're meant to spoon, or we're meant to put our hands on each other's shoulders, or, you know, it's terrible if you have a guy and he's not into that. You just go, okay, look, if you put your thumb here for me for 5 minutes, I'll do your neck for 5 minutes, you know. But it was real natural for me with Kate. You know, some people are, we all have different gifts. Some people are kinesthetic. They're touchy people. Most people are visual, kinesthetic, touchy people. And, you know, again, you guys are so giving and so bonded. So instead of all the money we spend on lunch and, you know, clothes and whatever, you know, have a foot rub party. You invite 5 girls over. I rub your feet, you rub mine. Let me tell you my problems, you tell me your problems. Let's drink some tea, maybe some red clover. You know, it's really, we can heal each other. We can heal each other. But if it hurts, fix it. If it hurts, there's a reason it hurts, and you gotta fix it, because if you're suffering, you won't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then you can't be holy, right? You can't sit there and think of God or whatever if your back really hurts. That's the whole thing in yoga, which is you make your body able to sit and not complain about your stiff legs or your bad back, so that you can sit and merge into the divine, so you can have a little bit of higher consciousness and escape from gravity and neurosis and Kardashians.
I think that unfortunately the way the world works is kind of like, it takes like generations for us to realize that there's a problem, like the backpacks. We're going to figure it out, because probably none of us are going to be around. We're going to see a lot of problems later on in the future, maybe 100 years from now. People having bad issues, and then they're going to say, you know what, maybe we can fix this by not doing this or that. Same thing with the yoga. I know they're going to start bringing them into schools. It's just a matter of time. And they're going to, you see more, even on TV, they do yoga for babies, mom and babies doing yoga, all that kind of stuff. So,
okay, so to control the mind, which is in fear and freaking out, you have to define what is it that I can control and what is it that I can't control. Can't control the future. You know, there was an amazing article in the New York Times about how many people are getting injured in yoga. You know, the too much syndrome. Because the yoga, and I have a big background, it could be a very funny lecture on this one. But in yoga, which has gotten away from the spiritual aspect, has gotten to be more into the fitness world. So it used to be you did, when I learned yoga, we went vegetarian, celibate, or white, yoga up at 3 in the morning, took cold showers. We were serious people. We weren't just walking around with little purple mats, you know. We were serious. We covered our bodies, we didn't flash our bodies. But in yoga, it used to be 45 minutes of movement, 15 minutes of breathing, 15 minutes of deep relaxation, 15 minutes of meditation. That's true yoga. So they wanted to eliminate the spiritual part to make it more popular. So now they're doing an hour and a half of back bends and 36 chaturangas and 40, 45 sun salutations. It's the too much syndrome. So what you have to do is go, what's the problem? What can I control? What's the solution? And you can only control so much, and then you have to let the rest go, or we'll be crazy. Crazy, yeah.
I just want to say one thing. Okay, I just want to say this because there are lots of things. But you gave us a tool to help. Debbie said a problem, and I just yelled at my son this morning for going with this. With his backpack, which is also very heavy. But he's a very active kid, and we have one of those big balls at home, or we have the couch. And this afternoon, I'm going to lay down for a moment. I love to lay back on that ball. It makes my back feel great. So you just gave me one thing that I didn't think about before that says, you know what? I can play this game with him later. He's 10 years old, and it'll be all great, and we'll make a game of it, of laying backwards on that ball. And that's going to make him stronger. That's also going to help.
The other thing, I don't have children, but I have had thousands of students, like my kids, is to find the role models for them. And when you look at something like The Rock, yeah, even Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. So you come up with the male models, Jackie Chan, any of those people, and see what their bodies can do. So it's not just the feminine body. Males need male role models, and what that body can do. I really enjoyed seeing you. Don't forget your box. Stay within the box, but think outside of the box. If you have any questions, call me. If you get to Big Bear, call me. And I just flew in last night, and then when I was at the counter, I flew in Spirit, and they said oh, we're just having a sale, $1 one way, $2 round trip. So if they have a sale, I can go back any time. It's cheaper than a latte. And we can do more work. Thank you very much for inviting me to your beautiful temple. And Kate, God bless.
And yeah, it's beautiful. Say, well, have to come back to $2.
There you go.
I forgot how much outreach work you do in the school. She has a lot of reading stuff too. There's a lot of